Send a powerful message to those people who live in the past and tell them no more business as usual and no more repeat performances because we're going to make America great again.
Hey everyone. So yeah, looking at things, it's pretty obvious that we did have three noobs last episode, Johnny, and although we may have downgraded back to two noobs talking, the quality's still going to be great, right? At the end of the day. Welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking, where we love to talk about the world around us. It's episode 41, and of course with me is my regular co-host, my good buddy John Tracy. John, how you doing, man? What's going on tonight?
Matt, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I'd love to be able to bring a number for 41, but yeah.
It just wasn't happening. Yeah, I think the closest we came up with in pre-production was what? Dirk Nowitzki.
Dirk, that's it.
It pretty much was it. So,
so I guess we can go with that. But yeah, if anybody's got any, please leave them in the comments on YouTube.
Exactly.
Like,
we love to hear that. Absolutely. Of course, I'm Matt Craig. We're happy to have you with us. And as always, we have just a ton to get to. As always, we have a brand new Stop the Tape segment. It's not, thankfully, with Chris Cuomo, but it's with someone I think that rivals him pretty well.
Or they're dating. I don't know.
Or they're dating. Who knows? Nothing wrong with that, I guess. But we'll get to that. But John, let's just dive right into the pool, shall we? And let's talk a little vaccine hesitancy that seems to be pulsing through the veins of the country. ABC News article here. Vaccine hesitant Americans reject Delta variant risk, posing questions for pandemic recovery. Nearly 30% of the U.S. says it has not gotten vaccinated, and it is unlikely to do so. And not only that, but the vaccine hesitant Americans overwhelmingly reject the reported risks of the coronavirus Delta variant, posing questions for the nation's pandemic recovery. The Biden administration, of course, set a goal of, I believe, 70% vaccination rate, by the 4th of July. They fell short of that goal. John, you and I, of course, have discussed back and forth.
Oh, yeah.
Throughout the entire history of Two Noobs. Do we get the vaccine? Do we not get the vaccine? I went ahead and got it. You have not gotten it. Would love to hear your take. Go, bring it on, brother.
It's just like I've explained it a million times with the vaccine. Is I haven't had a flu vaccine in 25 years.
Yeah.
So, like, it would be more odd for me to get it than not to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a regular go to the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of holistic kind of stuff. I believe in eating right. I believe in the food I put in my body keeps me healthy. Vitamins I take, that kind of stuff. Being active.
You mean the normal stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A whiskey and soda every once in a while. You know what I mean? Breathing, not, being hyper crazy about everything, not worrying about stuff.
Not worrying about things. Absolutely.
That comes from my anxiety, but
exactly.
Yeah, so it would be out of ordinary for me. Like you have recently gotten the flu shot in the last couple of years, so it would make sense to follow up on your medical history to do what you did.
100%.
My whole point with vaccines is it's nobody's business.
That I completely agree with.
So
that I totally agree with, because, and that I think is the issue here is, okay, we want to be able to get past the goal line, this imaginary goal line that no one has really, that the administrative state really has set, right? At the end of the day, we have to get to here in order to go back to normal, whatever that, we've been back to normal for months now. People are starting to drop the masks off and everything. It's like, I just went out to Micro Center to pick up a new pop, a screen for the microphone. Nobody's wearing masks except for people behind the counter, which is really weird because they've also been vaccinated. So it's like
turning in Texas now. People in the shops now aren't even wearing them.
So
yeah, it's
I know. And of course, like for me, I did the research on it and it was like, okay, I'll take it, whatever. I've been vaccinated before as a little kid. And of course, like I did the, as you know, in the fall, I did the flu vaccine. First time I got that. Figured it would be like, okay, well, you never know what could happen or whatever, with everything happening. And I did it. Came over it fine. There's no big deal. But here's the thing, and I think this is the big argument here. It's not any of my business, nor was it any of your business to flip either way. The idea is I respect your decision not to get it. I also respect your wife's decision not to get it. And I'm sure you guys, same deal. You respect the fact that I got it, but no one's like, why would you try and guilt somebody into getting this vaccine and trying to force yourself and force others to get it? That's ridiculous.
I find it very interesting because I'm more anti or for. Like most things, like my politics, like I'm in the middle. Like I know there's good and bad with both of them. Okay.
Yep.
I try to stay on the very center course of there's good and bad in everything.
Absolutely.
There's good and bad in eating too many tomatoes.
Like, exactly.
If you really break life down to like an organism, if you eat too much chocolate, something bad's going to happen to you. If you eat too many tomatoes, something bad's going to happen to you. There's always a level of excessive behavior that will make you sick.
Agreed.
Worry,
yes.
stress. Yes. It's all documented.
Too much alcohol in your system.
Exactly.
Not that there's anything wrong with alcohol, but you know what I mean? It's like too much of that.
Enjoying alcohol.
Yes.
But if you wake up Tuesday morning at 4:00 in the morning and start drinking and you don't stop drinking until 2029,
that might be a problem. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
might be a problem.
Stop every once in a while.
Exactly.
And I'm all for go, but every once in a while, just slow down.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, and that's the thing. I understand the thought process, but it's none of the administrative state's business.
Yeah, and that's
on your health. I remember, what was it, like Bill Maher? We go back to Bill Maher. We talked about him last week, how amazing it is that we're agreeing with him. But he made a terrific point. He says, I really hope my medicine or whatever the case may be, or my, the visits I go to the doctor, I hope that doesn't get politicized. Well, guess what?
It does.
It's starting to. Yeah.
And that is weird.
That is really weird because it's none of anybody else's business whether or not you decide to take this vaccine or not.
But when you freely give that your HIPAA information up online, that creates a culture in which it expects people to do it. Facebook has been always good at being the most toxic thing in the room.
Oh, 100%.
It's because people share shit that they don't need to share.
Yeah.
Like here's my 87th girlfriend in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And then they meet the one and they're like, well, why is everybody always asking me about who I'm dating now? Well, because I'm an idiot and I just shared for 5 years. I just shared my dating life on Facebook and now I'm pulling it away because I met the one.
Makes no sense. Right. And again, I think also too, the profile frames, to me, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. Because I've seen it on one side, I've gotten it done. You see it on the dating sites as well. I've been vaccinated. And then on the other side, you've got, and I love it, it's the response to it. It says, I don't give a flying you-know-what if you've got the vaccine or not. It cracks me up. I love that.
And this is, let's just end the vaccine stuff before we get to this moron. The vaccine stuff is very simple. When I was a kid, I was taught that if there was a thing and you had to get vaccinated, once you got the vaccine, you were fine. You didn't need to worry about everybody else. That's why you got the vaccine. For some reason, now the media has flipped it that everybody needs the vaccine because we're fighting the virus.
Yeah, and in a sense, it's a pro-life position. In a way. It just so happens to be just completely...
That makes a lot of sense.
It really does.
That makes a lot of sense saying it that way. Absolutely.
Yeah, which is ironic coming from the media because they just promote everything pro-death.
Yeah, exactly.
In their counters and all that kind of stuff. And now we're at a Delta variant. My question to you is, John, when are we going to go Gamma? If we're going to go to a Gamma variant, Is the coronavirus going to turn us into Hulks? I mean, that's my question.
When your bogey hits the 6, we'll change the name. That's how Biden runs the country. So. There's like words. When Elmo says something on Sesame Street, he'll call it something else.
Exactly.
That's what he does.
Well, the Elmo variant. We'll also have the Elmo variant virus.
Got it, the Cookie Monster.
Oh my gosh, it's just crazy. It's sad
because I think they're all jerk offs.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's like I understand the desire, and but again, for the administration to say, "Oh, I'm going to walk around and knock on everybody's door," really? You're going to walk around everybody's door and
they can't even control their own federal building.
Yeah.
How are they going to control the entire United States?
Exactly.
What did Biden's yelling and screaming about these masks?
Yeah.
Cruz walked up on Capitol Hill and threw the mask in. Didn't control the Senate.
It's like, come on. It's like, yeah. I mean, it's just sad. It's just really, really sad and pathetic.
What makes it sad is people like this.
Yeah.
And this is our stop segment, so I'm going to get into this.
This is, oh my gosh.
So Matt, you just let us know you're gonna.
So I'll stop the tape. Okay, yep. So this is our second stop the tape segment. It's on Chuck Todd. So brace yourselves, people. He's going to be talking about this on a liberal news network. So I just want to keep that in mind as we play this clip. Go ahead, Johnny.
And we've got some breaking coronavirus news just now from the CDC. Dr. Rochelle Walensky, she's briefing right now as the country once again is moving in the wrong direction on this virus.
Stop the tape.
He says,
looking at the graph right there, we're moving in the wrong direction. I'm seeing all kinds of slopes, John. What do you see?
It's not January and February and March anymore.
No, it certainly is not.
which by the way is peak flu season.
Really? I would have never thought that.
In case you didn't know that, Matt, I just
we've got a couple of nice rolling hills here. I mean, it is a very impressive, like, mountains, but it's like I'm looking at April 1 when this thing was first reported, and you could see even the spike up to May 1. We're like about 25,000. In July of this year, to the right side of the screen there, it's cut in half.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, okay. We're doing okay. We're doing fine.
Pretty decent numbers if you look at it, because if we were to take a flu graph, which I'm sorry I don't have, and we superimpose it over top, you would get similar numbers. Those spikes are a little concerning, but that's in every virus. You see that during this time frame.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, roll it.
There has been a 10% increase in cases since last week. 10%.
Stop the tape.
20.
Yes, please.
Really? We're gonna flip out over a 10% increase? Oh my god! Come on, Chuck. Come on. Really?
If I got a 10% raise, I would freak out.
Yeah, exactly. So would I. I would love that. But yeah, come on. Really? We're going to flip out over this?
If 10%
What's the downside?
Get sick.
Yeah. Go ahead, roll it.
Only 5% of those increased in cases are the Delta variant. She called the Delta variant, quote, hyper-transmissible.
I'm
Stop the tape. Here. Yeah.
Do you notice what they're doing? This is the fear monger, and they're doing with they want to put the jab. They want to put it. Just watch it. They want to put it in your brain.
And that its spread is being fueled by communities with low vaccination rates. Director Walensky says more than 1,000 counties have a vaccination rate lower than 30%. Folks, nearly 10,000 people.
That's a TV ploy to get you to feel bad about yourself.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And then this guy's what he's gonna do is gonna put the rub in now.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna put the rub in now to make you even feel worse about yourself.
Oh
because you're not sick like everybody else.
Yep.
People died in the month of June. They were needless deaths. Please get vaccinated if you know someone who's not vaccinated.
John, needless deaths to me is Chicago shooting itself in the face and having like a large amount of homicides happen over the 4th of July. Needless deaths are Portland, that basically has been on fire since the start of this pandemic and hasn't stopped.
Agreed. And you know what also is needless deaths? Veterans that commit suicide at a rate even higher.
Yeah. Needless.
Than coronavirus has ever been.
Needless.
What about the child sex trafficking and the raping and killing of women and children?
Needless deaths are also the teenagers that have committed suicide during the course of this pandemic because of this idiot that's basically promoting death all the time. That's a needless death. Come on, roll it.
Find a way to convince them to get vaccinated. Literally, the only people.
It's nobody's business.
Yeah.
You don't find a way to convince your friend to get vaccinated. That's not a friend. You know what that is? That's a parent.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need those kind of friends. If you've got friends knocking on your door going, you need to get vaccinated or we can't hang out.
Yeah.
Go jump off a bridge.
Yeah.
Because you're not any helpful to me.
Or better yet, can we sit outside? Like, I think we could probably sit outside and just hang out and have a beer.
Maybe.
Roll it. Yeah, roll it.
People
Not with
die
this guy.
are the unvaccinated. And for those of you spreading misinformation,
Stop the
shame
tape
on you.
right there.
Yep.
Now,
Go for him. Get him.
right here. This is
the
classic.
administrative
I
state.
just want to paint this picture for our audio listeners. This is Chuck Todd looking at you with a very stern face. He's at his liberal news, basically a liberal news network to a liberal audience going, you should be ashamed of yourself. Now, John, there's nothing worse in life than to have a really, really, really bad preacher say, if you don't do these things, you're going to die. You're going to hell.
Mm-hmm.
That's prevalent in the evangelical Christian community. And thank God for Reformations and all that kind of stuff that preach peace and goodwill and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This is a classic example. Avoid this kind of man right here.
Do you see the other point that they're doing to make you feel bad about yourself? What's in the background over his shoulder?
Trying to think here. But you got the U.S. Capitol building.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're running on everything that they can. They want to make you feel bad.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
That's what they're doing.
They're fear mongering is exactly what they're doing because everybody stopped
100%.
at the Capitol and everybody said that wasn't okay. Now they're throwing that in there while they're telling you this isn't okay. They're just using these tricks. These are all tricks.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm using them in the background of this show right now. Tricks to make people think about other things.
Yep. Roll it.
Shame on you. People are needlessly dying because
Stop
of
the
your
tape.
misinformation.
He's lying. That's not even.
That's not even.
that's not
I can't even.
That's not even real.
I cannot even begin to the blatant hypocrisy of this man.
Everybody-
The blatant hypocrisy of what we just heard is staggering to me. Staggering to me.
Mm-hmm.
Needless deaths for people not getting jabbed. Sorry, Chuck, don't buy it. Sorry. You could try and be pro-life as best you possibly can. I'm using pro-life in quotes. This is not a pro-life argument. This is a pro-jab. That's exactly what this is, Johnny.
It's an agenda. It's a pure agenda.
Yeah.
It's a meeting of a quota of some sort.
Oh, yeah. This is administrative state. We've got to hit 70%. And we're going to really make it very, very guilty for those that haven't gotten the jab yet. This does nothing to help.
Think about it. I don't know how some of you sleep at night who are doing this for a living.
Stop the tape. I don't know how you even get up in the morning, Chuck Todd, and report on this with a straight face after you bold-faced lie everything that you do and say.
Mm-hmm.
Roll it. Yay! Look at that, the end of the video.
We finished. Oh, man.
That was brutal.
Being in his presence made me feel scummy.
Yeah, that was pretty bad, Johnny.
Yeah,
That was pretty
I
bad.
don't like him. I don't like him at all.
Yeah.
I don't like him at all.
But let's laugh a little bit. Let's go to that other video while we have it up there. I know it's a little bit out of order on your screenshots, but let's go ahead. In Louisiana, it's really important. We're getting close to, hurricane season. In fact, we just had also go up the coast and kind of just skirt by Tampa and skirt by, Philadelphia and whatever. But this very important message by the Louisiana governor and his director of, of FEMA down there. So let's just go ahead and play this clip in its entirety.
Hurricane season is here and the time to prepare is now. In Louisiana, we know what hurricanes can do to our communities and the importance of having an emergency plan and taking the steps to ready yourselves, your family, and your community.
You can take simple steps to prepare for hurricanes, including getting a COVID-19 vaccine and building a ready kit with items and documents you need in case you need to evacuate. The best way to
John, did I just hear that right?
and building a ready kit with items and documents
Oops, sorry.
to prepare for hurricanes, including getting a COVID-19 vaccine
Stop the tape.
and building a ready kit.
Did I just hear that right?
Yeah, I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to talk.
So-
about that longer. Yeah. No. We're preparing.
I
For
just
a
want to make
hurricane.
that clear. I want to hear this right.
So you're prepared for a hurricane.
To get prepared for the hurricane, you have to get jabbed?
Hmm?
What if I'm leaving, like, I have to, like, evacuate, right? Like, Louisiana's a low-lying state.
We need a ready kit.
Well, I
after-
get that. I
You
understand
need a
that.
ready kit after you get the vaccine, so that the hurricane won't hit you or something. No, I think that's what it makes sense. Like, she's saying that you have to get the COVID-19 vaccine so the hurricane doesn't hit. Like,
Oh, really?
You're vaccinated, so it'll
Also, it'll skirt by.
hit in the Gulf and it'll go hit another unvaccinated
They didn't
plane.
state?
Yeah. Like, I think that's what she's trying to explain. I think that's the only other explanation.
Maybe.
So maybe the COVID-19 is like Superman powers.
Well, here's the thing. Maybe the potential could be that as you're evacuating, the vaccine, needles will start flying all over the place, and then you'll get jabbed with the vaccine.
Maybe that's what maybe they're just going to throw the needles into the hurricane. I don't know. She seems to have a plan. And
I
it
would
doesn't
think
make any sense.
I would think so. I mean,
think that dude walked his way on a Saturday afternoon, walked his way into the Fab Five
I
with
think
her. They are 1-1. They now another governor just finally. You better. And Cuomo doesn't say stupid shit like that.
it is definitely stupid quote of the week, but I mean, my God, I couldn't believe what I just saw. That is stunning to me that you have to, in addition to getting away from a hurricane, you have to get jabbed. Okay. I'm not quite sure how that all works out in the midst of a natural disaster. But whatever floats your boat, go for it.
I mean, if we're going to be this crazy with the Fab Five, then we need someone to get on a study of how hurricanes affect COVID-19. Because if it's always going to be COVID-19, I want to see some real data.
We got the real hard data. Well, I love how you segue things in, John. Let's take a look at some actual raw data, because this, to me, this is so stunning. You presented this to me. It was a paper that came from, I believe it was from the JAMAnetwork.com. It's a journal. It's an online journal that basically, it was an experimental assessment of carbon dioxide content in inhaled air with or without face masks in healthy children. So this was a randomized clinical trial that was run. And they make a big point of this, and I'll read right from one of the poll quotes here. Many governments have made nose and mouth covering or face masks compulsory for school children. The evidence base for this is weak. I love that in the first couple of opening sentences, Johnny. The question whether nose and mouth covering increases carbon dioxide in inhaled air is crucial. A large-scale survey in Germany of adverse effects in parents and children using data of 25,930 kids has shown that 68% of the participating children had problems when wearing nose and mouth coverings. That is a stunning amount. And it goes on too. The normal content of carbon dioxide in the open is about 0.04% by volume. A level of 0.2%. So that's 5 times. I have to maybe do my math might be a little bit off there, but 0.2%, that's significantly more than 0.04%.
Yes.
But a level of 0.02% by volume is the limit for closed rooms, according to the German Federal Environmental Office, and everything beyond that level is unacceptable. So keep that stat in mind. 0.2% by volume, unacceptable. That's basically, that is the top of the ceiling. You cannot go further beyond that in a closed room environment.
And
So
I
now
implore people to read this entire study. We just pulled out the best we could.
Yeah. So it talks a little bit about the results. I'm not going to go through the entire detail here, but
There's a
the
couple.
big thing here is this. We measured means between 120 and 13,910 ppm of carbon dioxide in inhaled air under surgical and filtering phase P2 or FFP2 masks, which is higher than what is already deemed unacceptable by the German Federal Environmental Office by a factor of 6. This was a value reached after 3 minutes of measurement. Children under normal conditions in schools wear such masks for a mean of 270 minutes. So doing the math, that's roughly about 4 hours. The figure shows that the value of the child with the lowest carbon dioxide level was 3-fold greater than the limit of 0.2% by volume. The youngest child had the highest values, with one 7-year-old child's carbon dioxide level measured at, now get this, 25,000 parts per million, ppm.
2,000 is unacceptable.
2,000 is unacceptable. This 7-year-old kid was subjected to more than 10 times the amount of an acceptable use of carbon dioxide wearing a mask. That is stunning.
Just real quick, we just want to, it was accepted by publication. It was published online. These are the doctors that were involved. But I implore everybody to read that study if you have children in the school districts and they require masks. That's
John,
something to read. That's gathering information.
Johnny, I kind of want to add, of the two of us, you've had 2 kids.
Yes.
And now a third,
Yes.
with Maya. Talk to me about just hearing that as a dad.
Yeah, it's scummy. Thank God they're older and they can make their own. I can't fathom the younger kids. It kills me to see them when parents are just putting masks on them and telling them they're gonna die if they take it off. Like, it's just so weird to me. Especially because we knew this data when it first happened. We knew this was bad. And now study after study after study we find are saying the exact same thing. Like, with the administrative state and this whole left-right thing, like, I think most adults would agree with me. I don't care what you tell me what I have to do. I'm a grown-ass person. But when you tell kids they have to do things and you're harming their health, that's where everybody draws the line there.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Even murderers don't like child molesters.
Yeah.
And
that says a lot. Yeah.
It says a lot. Kids are the purest form of us. It's just scummy. That's why I pull all these things and I look for all these things. And people need to man up and woman up and read these things before you put people in these positions.
I can't even think about having a 7-year-old go through something like that where more than 10 times the amount of acceptable CO2 in the system. It's a miracle to me that the kid survived it.
Could you imagine dealing with telling them they have to wear a mask for a virus that doesn't have?
I mean, at that point, for me, if I had that happen to me as if I was a father and I had that opportunity, with a kid, the kid's like, no, you're staying home and you're getting your work done.
Exactly.
It's not playtime. You're getting your work done. And in the meantime, I'm pulling them out of the public schools anyway. I'm getting them into a private homeschooling, more than anything else. But I mean, to be subjected to that's unacceptable. Completely unacceptable, and to say that, oh, well, we're doing this in the name of safety. BS.
No, that is BS. And that
is 100% BS, and they know it.
That's why we did that the way we did it.
Yep.
You need to see both sides, because that is what assholes like whatever his name is on MSNBC is doing. The governor from Louisiana, like, they're creating the turmoil that is causing real scientists to do studies being like, whoa, 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 this isn't okay.
Yeah.
You can't do this.
Yeah.
Good
And
on
I'm so glad that we're bringing this out to light, John, because this is not going to get reported on MSNBC.
No.
This is not going to get reported on CNN. Not going to get reported on Fox News. You're not going to see any of this.
No. Because
This
none
is
of them
two guys that are just coming together. And we pulled it, and you pulled it, and it was beautiful. And it was like, this is something to get us to think a little bit more about these masks going forward. If there's any sort of
think about everything.
yeah,
All right. Before we completely get off the rails here,
lose our minds.
one last, because this is the final piece, the New York Times piece.
Or Post, yeah.
Yeah,
Don't buy the
sorry,
hysteria.
yeah, we wouldn't get this from the Times.
Oh God, no. There'd be something really wrong. It'd be like we'd be agreeing with Bill Maher all over again. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Don't buy the hysteria. The Delta variant is actually less dangerous, Johnny.
Yeah. And there's different articles. You can check these out in the show notes. There's a couple articles, as you can see in the red. That's pull articles from this that will kind of explain the whole thing to you.
Yeah.
But like they say, just in this quote right here is most media hype of fear. Americans should be more concerned about the Delta variant.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a Forbes piece said. We've got a great Forbes piece that says other dumb stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Scientists have good reason to sound the alarm is the quote from New York Magazine.
It's hard to understand how worried to be.
It's hard. Yeah. It's hard to understand how worried to be. CNN analyst claims.
And
Please
yet-
go to the actual.
Mm-hmm. The huge spike didn't lead to similar hospitalization or death spikes. So Britain, the UK, where the Delta variant was discovered, is back on track to lift its regulations July 19th. They set a goal, July 19th. We're going to make sure that we've removed all regulations, all restrictions, July 19th. We're going to just proceed as planned. Chris Whitty over there, the chief, medical officer in Britain, of the National Health Service, he's probably just like, we're going back to normal. I don't know what else to say. It's a seasonal flu, as we've talked about before a few podcasts ago.
And the fact that a Yahoo like Boris, is even going backwards. Excuse me for that double screen share there. He's got me all flustered. But he's an idiot. He says all the wrong things.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And the fact that and again, America, the Delta variant's not yours. It was found in Britain. We should look to
also
them
through India. Yep.
to know how to handle this. We should look at outside sources. We're not the only people. And it's only in the Midwest for everybody. It's only been found tremendously in the Midwest. I know that there's low transmissions everywhere. I mean, but when you have a Delta variant, when you have the normal variant, this is like it. When you go to the doctor and they tell you have the flu or you have strep throat, they don't tell you what strain you have.
Yeah.
This is all that's all science and that's all media. The doctor's
100%.
not like, oh, well, you've got like A, B, C, double H over here. No, you have
the gamma variant that's going to turn you green and you're going to get all upset and mad. It's like, come on.
The doctors aren't doing that. The doctors are prescribing the proper medication, like they were with COVID-19 with the cocktails and blah blah blah. And you know what I mean? We know a few people, not to name names, but we know a few people that had the virus.
Had it, and bounced back from it. So
I mean, was it weird? Absolutely. Did it? Is there some long-term effects? There definitely. I mean, if you want to get serious, something coming from the Wuhan lab, you're going to get some.
Oh yeah.
You're going to get some humdingers because that's man-made. That's not nature-made.
Oh yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and again, that quack down there in Washington D.C. who's sweating bullets, and we've gone through that a few times. Obviously, just last week we zinged them pretty good there. But
it came from a lab. I mean, I'm done.
Oh, 100% it did.
I've seen so much evidence. There's not even reason to report it anymore.
Yeah. You don't have the I mean, Jon Stewart had a great line. He's like, you don't have it saying like it's on the billboard, Wuhan Institute of Virology. I mean, for crying out loud, it's showing ding, ding, ding. It's the whole. Come on.
How asleep were we before this happened?
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, if anything, it's just and pandemics are going to come and go. Epidemics are also going to come and go.
I can't wait till this pandemic becomes an epidemic.
Oh yeah,
Because
Oh,
it
absolutely.
should.
I think we're
Happen.
in the epidemic season.
I think we are, but they're just refusing to call
They're
it.
just refusing because they want to continue to, propagate the fear and
This is
mass hysteria.
This is how we all feel about Larry Bowe as the third base coach. We really want him to send him, but he never will. That's where we're at. That's where we're
Beautiful.
at in the coronavirus. We're Larry
Beautiful.
Bowe at third base coach.
Beautiful.
Captain
Absolutely.
stop sign.
Exactly. Captain stop sign. Exactly. But what was even better, John, what I think, we love to do after action reviews around here in Two Noobs. The rapper Zuby, who I don't know. I confess I have no idea who any of these rappers are.
I don't know. I don't even know who he is, but
It's really amazing. Yeah.
He seems to be smart.
He is.
That's all I care about.
I mean, it is just unbelievably wonderful. He had a terrific. This came from Not to Be. So again, this is not the Babylon Bee. This is an actual news website. It's terrific. Both should be great follows, by the way.
He did this on Twitter, right?
He did this on Twitter.
Awesome.
And he had a 20 point, kind of like 20 things learned about the pandemic. So we're going to go through a few of his sentences and just talk about them. So the first sentence he says, most people would rather be in the majority than be right.
I 100% agree with that.
I would totally agree with that as well. 2, at least 20% of the population has strong authoritarian tendencies which will emerge under the right conditions.
Oh, absolutely. That's the whole Karen syndrome.
Kind of to me was like saying, like, last week, John, when we had Steve on, it was like 10 to 15% of the far left and far right combined. I think they're kind of the same deal. We're talking a little bit about the authoritarian tendencies.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I still agree with you on that.
Yeah. His third point, fear of death is only rivaled by the fear of social disapproval. The latter could be stronger. I 1,000% agree with that.
I totally agree with that.
1,000% agree. You only have to look at Facebook and Twitter and cancel culture, don't you?
No, I totally agree with that. And that mixes with my theory of people are more afraid to be sick than they are to die.
Yeah.
And you put that with the fear of, looking stupid on social media.
Yep.
You got his point right there.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go ahead and click on. Yep. Fourth point. Propaganda is just as effective in the modern day as it was 100 years ago. Access to limitless information has not made the average person any wiser.
100% agree with that.
Yeah, totally agree with that as well.
Your cell phone technically is the computer they use to launch the first rocket to the moon.
To the moon. Mm-hmm.
And most people are not smarter because of that.
If anything, I think we have used technology, and it's a great invention, but the ability to read, John, the ability to read books,
it's fallen short for most people. I would agree.
100%, yes, and that's something we need to kind of get back to. We need to start reading more, I think, and not always look it up on Wikipedia. It's like, come on, do a little reading, do a little research. Fifth point, anything and everything can and will be politicized by the media, government, and those who trust them. I mean, Chuck Todd, right? I mean, that is a great example.
Exactly. If at this day and age, you trust your media, you trust the CNN, the MSNBC, the Fox News, it doesn't matter who anything.
Yeah.
Jon Stewart or whatever the hell his name is, Bill Maher.
Yeah.
Dan Bongino. It doesn't matter. Who you bow to. If you're bowing to someone in the media and trusting everything they say, you are going to be at least misinformed 75% of the time because they all have agendas.
100%. 100%. Sixth point, many politicians and large corporations will gladly sacrifice human lives if it is conducive to their political and financial aspirations.
Absolutely.
I mean, I couldn't agree more on that. I mean,
absolutely. Well, okay, so you don't think Walgreens and CVS and Walmart and any of your local grocery stores with pharmacies, you don't think they're getting a government kickback for giving the COVID-19 vaccine?
Yeah. 100%. You don't think Moderna is making money off of this?
You don't like that's what he means there. You don't think the politician, you don't think that, Joe doesn't get extra campaign money if Pfizer makes a ton of money?
I would also maybe make a caveat point to this, maybe even a tangent point. I think of large corporations gladly sacrificing human lives if it's conducive to their political, financial. What about MLB, John?
I 100% agree.
Moving that All-Star game was a great example of that. Really, you're sacrificing people's livelihoods
Yeah, a lot of people
because you disagree with a political law? Really?
a lot of people lost money
Oh, yeah.
in the Atlanta area because of the businesses that were going to thrive from it. Again, it's taking it away and moving it, and just so we're clear, moved it to a state that has the exact same laws.
Yeah. If not worse.
Yeah.
If not worse, yeah. Let's move on. Let's keep it going. Keep this train rolling here. 7th point. Most people believe the government acts in the best interests of the people, even many who are vocal critics of the government. John, you and I are vocal critics of the government, of course.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think that most people believe that the government acts in their best interest. I really don't.
Yeah.
I just don't think. I think most people, when it comes to the government, they're willfully ignorant.
Yes.
They don't want to deal with it because it's so complex and it's filled with a swamp, like we talked about. And politicians are no more than liars.
Yeah.
That have a smile, and they're the ones that they put themselves in the community. So you're like, oh well, I like John. He's a nice guy.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know your politics. You know what I mean? They're just
there for the camera.
You're always willing to elect someone to lead.
Exactly.
Other than yourself. I mean, I think that's all human nature.
Yeah, exactly. Point 8. Once they have made up their mind, most people would rather commit to being wrong than admit they were wrong.
Oh, absolutely. I used to struggle.
Yeah. Go ahead, Johnny.
I used to struggle with this all the time. Like in my prior career, I had built myself up in my own mind. It was hard for me to admit I was wrong because I always thought I was right.
Absolutely.
Because I had done it for so long, and we're all shitty people, so we all make mistakes. But
Yeah.
I learned in my new career how wrong I really was about a lot of things.
Oh, 100%.
And how much I had to change to become such a valuable commodity.
Yeah.
Because that's how you become a valuable commodity. You got to check your shit at the door.
Absolutely. And to admit that you're wrong takes a lot of humility.
It does.
And that is not easy for any proud American. I'm convinced of that. It doesn't matter if you're on the left-hand side or the right-hand side. You know what I mean?
I don't think it's easy for anybody.
It's not easy for anybody. But to admit when you're wrong, that's a step in maturity.
Yeah.
Never forget that. Never forget that at all.
Absolutely.
9th point. Humans can be trained and conditioned quickly and relatively easily to significantly alter their behaviors for better or worse. John?
Yeah, absolutely.
Mask mandates. That's what comes to me, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we can be trained.
Yeah.
Just look at sports stadiums with the 9/11.
Yep.
What did it take us? 5 minutes to fall in line?
Pretty much.
We grew up in a time frame where you go to the ballpark and nobody would check anything.
You just go in. Yeah.
We were easily conditioned, giving up a little bit of our freedom for safety. Check our bags, check this. We wand it down, up and down. Airports, same exact thing after 9/11. We gave a little bit of our freedom away.
Back. Yep.
For
a couple of bad actors that basically took advantage of that. And
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree with that assessment.
Oh, I would agree with that as well. Let's move on. The 10th point. When sufficiently frightened, most people will not only accept authoritarianism, but demand it.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, because it's like when you're frightened, fear, right? You're thinking like, oh my God, someone above me has to know the answer to my question, has to know why.
Yeah, you hope so. Yeah.
And so the idea is, okay, I've got to submit to that higher authority. Well, that higher authority better know what they're doing, because if they're not, then you're in real deep trouble at that point.
Well, it's Steve's great quote from Men in Black.
Yeah.
People are smart.
Individuals are smart. People are dumb.
Individuals are smart. People are dumb.
Dumb. Oh, yeah. Exactly. This one, I love this 11th point because I think you and I fit in this category beautifully, Johnny. People who are dismissed as conspiracy theorists are often well-researched and simply ahead of the mainstream narrative.
Yeah.
I think that's two noobs talking right there, bud. I don't know about you.
The mainstream media has been lying to me since, this is just me personally,
Yeah.
been at least lying to me since 1991 that I knew of.
For me, it was the Iraq War,
Yep.
the second one. The
Yep.
second Iraq War for
The
me.
one they put on TV?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
The second Iraq War, I'm talking like the Bush 43.
Yep.
You know, basically they were telling like the U.S. troops are pillaging and raping and all that kind of stuff. And all that was 100% horseshit.
Yep.
That, you know, I knew that wasn't true. We had people on the ground that were not doing that. I mean, it was like, I knew they were a bunch of liars. And ever since then, I knew they've been lying ever since.
Yeah. The media's been very anti-American for a really long time.
So I'm a proud conspiracy theorist, John. You may go down the rabbit hole. I don't. But I'm glad to be a part of a conspiracy theory with you, brother. 12th point. Most people value safety and security more than freedom and liberty. That sounds familiar. Even if said safety is merely an illusion.
I agree. Yeah.
Kind of what we were talking about earlier, about a few minutes ago, right, Johnny? At the end of the day. Yep.
I think that's he you know, he's making great points, but he definitely has kind of said them in different ways, which he's probably doing on purpose.
Oh, sure. Oh, yeah. So we're at point 13. We're almost done.
Than most people.
Yeah. 13th point. We're almost there. Hedonic adaptation occurs in both directions, and once inertia sets in, it is difficult to get people back to normal.
Oh, absolutely.
I think we're living in that time right now.
Absolutely, positively.
Yeah.
That's a strong point.
Big time.
That's a strong point. Once someone's convictions get overtaken by the government state, and you know, you got to save your own life, you got to save your family's lives, you got to save your parents' lives, you got to do this, you got to do this. When the wool gets pulled off, and you see a lot of it was corruption, it's hard to go back to normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you're living a lie at this point.
Yeah. 100%.
That's what he's kind of talking about.
I would agree. And I think I was just going to say, for the conspiracy theorists, Johnny, for you and me, I think it's important, and for all of our listeners that listen to this, it's really important to reassure those that are still living with a sense of fear and anxiety, really, and just to say, hey, look, we are getting back to normal. It is okay not to wear the mask in front of me. I'm fine. I'm okay. You know, that kind of deal. Just to give that reassurance and to say,
absolutely,
you're going to be fine. Don't worry. You know, don't worry so much more than anything else.
Yeah.
So point 14, a significant percentage of people thoroughly enjoy being subjugated.
Absolutely.
I wonder what that percentage is, John, to be perfectly honest. He doesn't give a number, but
it's definitely a significant number. I think most people, I'm talking as a species, most people just want to show up, do their job, go home. They don't want leadership. They don't want it's you know what I mean? They just want to. Steve is a prime example. Steve is a leader in his field, right? But Steve as a person he just wants the government to leave him alone.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me do my thing. I'm fine. You know what I mean?
I thought that was such a great quote that he made last week. Yeah, 100% on that. I love this 15th point. The science has evolved into a secular pseudo-religion for millions of people in the West. This religion has little to do with science itself. I leapt at that, and I was like, 1,000% agree on that. 1,000% agree. Because it's like, we saw that in, you know, the studies, and it's like, well, we're going to go, this is our science. You cannot approach the science because the science is saying this. And it's like, well, I've got another bit of science that's contrasting what the science is saying.
But
it's like, no.
That's funny.
Once the science says it, it's like, that's it. It's the 10 Commandments all over again.
Yeah,
thou shalt not question the science, you know?
It's ridiculous.
That's the 12th commandment, basically, in the Bible. You have to look for it. I don't know. 16. Most people care more about looking like they are doing the right thing rather than actually doing the right thing.
That's a tough one. I mean, I'm not going to stand on a pedestal and say that that's true or not. That's a thinking point. I think he put that in there to make you think inside yourself, because that immediately, when you read that out loud, that made me think, am I like that or am I not like that?
Yeah.
I think he put that in for a reason. I think self-evaluation is more imperative than looking at other people and judging them.
Yes.
Looking inside yourself is far more gratifying and valuable to society than looking at someone else and telling them they're doing it wrong.
Yeah, because I think an example of that would be, in New York in the early days of the pandemic, somebody walking without a mask on, and they're, oh my God, that person over there, we got to get him out of there, that kind of deal. And
it's not necessary.
It's not necessary.
Are you taking the precautions to keep your family and you safe? Then leave everybody else alone, because they're not. It's not.
Or if you got an extra mask, give it to that person. Doesn't matter. Here, you can have mine. Whatever you want, I don't care, but take it. That kind of deal. 17, politics, the media, the science, and the healthcare industries are all corrupt to varying degrees. Absolutely. Scientists and doctors can be bought as easily as politicians.
Absolutely. Well, Bill Maher said it best, and I'm going to ride with his quote. I can't believe that I'm riding with his quote, but he said the WHO and the CDC have been corrupt for 25 years.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But and again, it goes back to what I was saying before with I think it was the San Francisco College. They had a group of scientists on a Zoom call, and they were like, what happens between science and politics? Politics wins.
Every time.
And it's like, oh my gosh, it's like we want the scientists to actually tell us what is happening, so that way we can make decisions or whatever the case may be.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And there have been some good, you might have to go down the rabbit hole a little bit, but there are some good scientists that have spoken out about this the whole time and have been able to stay out of the media but stay online to help people through it.
Yeah.
There are good scientists, and I follow a couple of them. They pegged this for what it was in the beginning, but they didn't, they created their own community.
Yeah.
For people that needed it.
Yeah.
Which is good.
That's
what we should be doing. We should be creating communities and trying to help people through what we believe.
Exactly.
Instead of forcing what we believe on people that don't believe what we believe.
Exactly. 18. If you make people comfortable enough, they will not revolt. You can keep millions docile as you strip their rights by giving them money, food, and entertainment.
I absolutely agree with that.
Yeah.
It's happening right now.
Yeah.
It's literally happening right now.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have as many rights as we did at the beginning.
As long as you get paid, have food, have a roof on your head, and a flat screen television, what more can you possibly need as an American?
I mean, I really don't. I'm kind of, I completely, I understand that statement, and I'm kind of comfortable with that statement that he's right.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, what's the sacrifice behind all of that thing? You know what I mean?
Rights.
Yeah. 19. Modern people are overly complacent and lack vigilance when it comes to defending their own freedoms from government overreach.
Absolutely. But I think that starts with
That goes 18. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that starts with the schools.
Oh yeah.
With the defending their own freedoms from the government's overreach, because I don't think that they're teaching.
No.
What they were teaching when we were younger.
Oh, 100% not.
That's a key point.
I would totally agree with that. It's a great point, John. Yeah.
I mean, me and you are, I don't know if you're done yet, but we're taking thanks to Matt, we're taking a constitutional college course.
There you go.
And some things I forgot.
Yeah.
Over my 42 years.
Oh yeah.
And it was really interesting to hear the lectures and be like, man, I know that, but I didn't remember that.
Remember this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you kind of lose some things. And it's a really nice refresher course. I'm glad we did it because we talk a lot about it.
No, it's great. No, it's really good. 20. It's easier to fool a person than to convince them that they have been fooled.
Absolutely.
That sounds like C.S. Lewis. I love that quote.
That's literally business 101.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
That's all that is. And then Let's just throw
there's a bonus thought in here. He threw
I
this
love
in.
that he did it. He's so smart.
It's wonderful. Most people are fairly compassionate and have good intentions. This is good.
I absolutely agree with that.
As a result, most people deeply struggle to understand that some people, including our leaders, can have malicious or perverse intentions. This is bad.
I totally 100% agree.
I 100% agree with that as well.
100% agree with that. I think innately everybody is good.
Yeah, you and I would disagree on that. I think everybody is inherently bad.
Yes.
But,
I think most people will help.
but most people will help.
Yeah,
Yes.
most people will help.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But it gets really, it just gets mixed up. I see such good in society, but I know that there's there's selfishness. There's
selfishness, there's greed, there's individualism and whatever.
You're going to find corruption everywhere, but you're also going to find goodness everywhere.
Absolutely.
And I just choose to look at. I think that's just my thing. I just choose to look at the good in everything.
Yeah. Look for that common
worry
grace. Look for that common good. Yeah, exactly. And again, there's nothing wrong with that, John. That's where I would tend to agree with you.
Yeah, you can literally pull either way out of that, because if you want to see corruption in everything, you can find corruption in everything.
It's not hard to look.
You can see good in everything.
Yeah.
I think as the society, I think most people across the world are good-natured humans that just want to care for their children, their peoples around them, and friends that they have. And look at that carnival. I think it was the other day. A bunch of people rushed over to the ride because it was about to tip over, and they were able to, as humans, build a wall to keep that thing afloat at a carnival. You know what I mean? Like, that's just good.
That's amazing. Yeah.
And you know, most people we know would be right in that. If we were there, we'd be right there. Oh, hey, Matt, I need your help over here. We need to help these people save lives. Okay, no problem.
How about and even I'll do you one better, John. How about the condo that collapsed in Miami in Sunrise, Florida, and you had people rush to the scene to help people.
Absolutely. And the great quote from the workers, they were told that they could go home and they refused.
And they refused to.
Which is great. That's
can't ask for anything better than that.
Good human stuff. Now let's go to a bad human.
We're not going to get out of here with at least one Fab Five segment, but yeah, this lunatic. I mean, Pennsylvania governor vetoes voting restrictions, but the good news is the GOP could still pass voter ID rule anyway.
This is a Forbes article. It's just so everybody knows.
So my good governor, who's a lunatic, during the whole COVID pandemic and went mad with power. Vetoed Wednesday a sweeping bill passed by Republican state lawmakers that would have imposed voting restrictions, as well as a budget measure funneling money to controversial election audits. Though GOP legislators could still get around the Democratic governor by passing a voter ID mandate as a constitutional amendment.
Yeah.
So it goes on to say that basically he vetoed House Bill 1300, which would have imposed a voter ID requirement. A driver's license that you all have to get when you operate a motor vehicle in the state of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Put your face on it just to make sure it's you and not grandmom that passed away.
Imposed stricter signature matching requirements.
Which I totally agree with, because the technology's gotten better.
Yeah. It would have restricted the use of ballot drop boxes, added additional restrictions to mail-in voting, among other measures, which, hey, if you have to tighten it up, man.
Yeah, I'm all for stricter. Here, let's go to the actual Forbes article.
Yeah.
Because they have some key points.
Yeah.
If you want to just
This was amazing, because it says here it also included, so this is the bill that Wolf vetoed. I want this out there. It also included some measures that election workers had advocated for. Such as allowing mail-in ballots to be processed before Election Day and increasing pay for poll workers. So I guess, the governor was just like, you know what? The hell with it.
Well, he was trying to stop one thing and one thing only.
Yeah.
Is to look into the voter fraud.
Yeah. I'm convinced there was, but I mean,
Like we,
I have to
mean,
produce evidence in order to prove that theory, and I don't have that. So it's like,
I mean, the fact that they just started an audit is
Yeah.
something, and I definitely want to keep an eye on it because it seems interesting that they, doing a forensic audit, right after this, which seems pretty interesting.
yeah, Wolf also signed the state's annual budget, but did not approve a funding provision for the state's Auditor General's office that Republicans had said they intended to use to establish a Bureau of Election Audits.
See,
Some GOP legislators in the state have pushed for Pennsylvania to hold its own recount in line with the controversial privately funded one taking place in Arizona.
yep,
Republican
which is still
state
going
law,
on.
yep. Republican state lawmakers are moving forward with a constitutional amendment that would impose a voter ID requirement for elections, which would be approved by voters as a ballot measure.
Absolutely.
I am all in favor of that. In Pennsylvania, John, you have to go up to the voting booth. You basically just say your name. You don't present an ID of any kind. And a lot of these voter volunteers are elderly. They are in their 70s.
Mhm.
They don't know what is going on half the time.
I think that's where these fraudulent things happen.
Uh-huh.
They're just told what to do and do it.
And as long as it matches or closely matches the signature that's on the rolls, you're good to go.
My coworker had probably the greatest theory ever for the new voting law. He was like, go to fingerprints. Everybody gets fingerprinted, right?
Yeah.
And then this is how you vote. You
Unique
gotta vote
ID.
you either got to vote in person or you can vote by mail. But
Stamp.
right there, boom.
They did it in Iraq when they held the votes, and
That's what
the
I'm saying.
people
And
were
that's where he was-
overjoyed when they had it. They were holding their fingers up, going, "Look at me, I voted."
And that's where he got that from because he was he was over there.
Yeah.
He's a veteran of that war.
Yeah,
So he already knows how easy it is to set it up. That's what he was saying.
yeah. I mean, it's remarkable the pushback.
Yeah.
That to me says you're hiding something.
I agree. And we had that whole text message conversation when you sent that Forbes article over to me. You're like, what is he hiding? I'm like, voter fraud?
Yeah. Ding ding ding.
Ding,
ding. Yeah.
Clear as day from the headline that he's
Pretty much.
hiding voter fraud is what he's hiding.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's not very good at it because that's literally out in the open.
I would agree if there was like some sort of like BS provision in there that's like, okay, yeah, come on, this is a little bit ridiculous, but if it's something that helps the state overall and again
and
promotes,
it's not hurting anybody.
it's not hurting anybody.
That bill is not. I've read the bill. It's not bad at all.
Yeah.
He's literally vetoing it because of the ID. That's all he's doing.
That's all it is.
So bad. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Thank
you get
God
one
that-
for a passport, you get one for a driver's license, you have to present it when you board a plane, you have to get a fishing license, you got to get a hunting license, all that stuff.
Yeah, you need your ID for everything.
Everything. Buying beer, buying cigarettes, whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
you know? And yet,
And
willy-nilly, whatever you want when you vote.
99.9% of people wouldn't squaff if you asked them for an ID. I bet I could go through everybody I know and just like, hey, do you have an ID? I don't think I have any issues.
Yeah.
Maybe a teenager that hasn't got it yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That might be the only one that doesn't have an ID.
Yeah,
Because they haven't
exactly.
gotten it yet. But most people that have lived in this world during the time
Yep.
of the states doing better identifications,
Mm-hmm.
driver's license, personal identification cards, because that wasn't a thing in Pennsylvania for the longest time. You either had no ID or a driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
Then they implemented the personal identification.
Education.
I think that was countrywide at this
so.
point.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
it's
so.
countrywide at this point.
Mm-hmm.
It was a better way to,
Well, heck, it's like even now, when you go to the TSA and you're going to fly somewhere within the next year or so, post-pandemic, of course, but within the next year, you've got to go back and get a real ID.
Yeah,
which is your driver's license, but basically it's acting as if it's a passport, and it's like you could board a plane. Otherwise, you got to take a passport. So now, what's the difference with voting? It should be the same.
My 15-year-old son is flying out both of my kids are flying out to see me, to see us. He had to go get an ID so he could board the plane. So you know what he's going to have when he has to vote when he's 18?
Yeah, he's going to have an ID.
Going to have an ID.
ID, yeah.
This is how this works.
Yeah.
You have to get a job, you need an ID.
Yeah. Yeah. But voting, we always have to, I mean, it's just...
If you need to get on a plane, to drive a car, to get into a facility, to buy tickets. If you buy tickets online, you know what you need?
You need some form of identification.
To say that you're you.
Yeah.
So if you all these things, I don't understand why voting. It's because it's politics is the reason.
Oh, it is. It's 100%. It is. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the sad part about all of this is the fact that the politics seems to always try and trump it.
I think it always, lack of a better term, yes. But I think you're right. I think it's always been that way.
Yeah.
Politics have always trumped.
Yeah. Anything to keep the power, anything to, oh, this is really great. I'm running a state. Wow, this is really awesome. You know, I'm running the government or whatever the case. And I want to stay here for the rest of my life.
Like I said,
come on.
You can disagree with Trump all the time. The one thing he was right about, and Pelosi actually, the one who coined the phrase, but he was right about one thing.
Yeah.
That was a dirty, dirty, dirty place. And hopefully 2022 cleans it up a little bit.
Yeah, we got it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. No
but
doubt
the Constitution says it only takes 6 years. 2022.
That's what I loved about your quote last week, John. Honestly, that gives me hope a little bit, to be perfectly honest with you. So
that's what I'm going on because I mean, just learning about the Constitution and understanding.
Yep.
Like, I'm not a Trumpster, but I love the movement.
Yes. Yeah. If anything, Trump gave it legs.
I've met people that are all for Trump, and I've met people that are kind of for Trump. But you know what? I've had better conversations with them than I've had people that have been always on the fine line of being a Democrat and wanting to go this way. I haven't been able to have good conversations. So I'm hopeful that that we can kind of see this through and get back to that.
Yep. No doubt about it.
That's at least a hope.
Well, let's hit the happy because this, when you sent this to me, was really, really cool. It basically comes from AARP, the Association of American Retired Persons. I think that's what it's called or something like that. I can't remember, but
we're not old enough to know. Let's
just go ahead and play this. This is a sinking a battleship of World War II because we love the World War II generation around here. So let's play it.
I would describe war as pure carnage, destruction of facilities and of human lives. It's incomprehensible to me how this happened. The kamikazes, that was scary to me. Anybody at that time says they weren't scared, I don't think they're telling the truth. I'll never forget the Battle of Surigao Strait. I'm a small town kid from New Jersey. My dad was in the Navy, my oldest brother was already in, so I wanted to go. After the Pearl Harbor attack, patriotism was running very high, and you had to have parental consent to join the armed forces at 17. And my mother did not want to sign, but my father said, let him go up there to New York. They're not going to accept him. Because I was a very skinny kid, I think I weighed about 118. So I went up to New York, enlisted, and they accepted me. So it was kind of shock to my mother. I wasn't too bad a looking guy. After completing advanced fire control school, the first ship I was assigned to was at the USS Melvin. It was the proudest day of my life when I finally walked aboard that ship. The patriotism was raging in my blood. Everybody, we wanted to face the enemy. I wasn't thinking anything else. I didn't miss my parents, I didn't miss home, anything. Destroyers were known as the tip of the spear. We were detached single destroyers to go out, and our purpose was that we detected on our radar major Japanese flights coming down to alert the main landing area to that. And that left us very vulnerable. More destroyers were either sunk or damaged in the Okinawa campaign than they were of the rest of the total war in the Pacific. There were moments when I was afraid, not sure if I was going to live or die. This is a very good photograph, and in combat, guess where I was? Right up top in the director here. Wherever we pointed on target, the guns automatically pointed. The first combat I saw was at Saipan, where we discovered a surface blip on our radar, and it was a submarine, which we subsequently sank. So that was my first kind of little bit of excitement. Felt great. That's what I wanted to do. But when we got to the Philippines, the kamikazes became quite frequent. You're literally on your own, and we didn't give it another thought till the Japanese wised up and decided to kamikaze us. During a kamikaze attack, being in the main battery director, we were on telescopes. Looked like he was coming right down our throat. I was kind of frightened. My heart was pounding. One looked like he was going to hit us. We kept hitting him, and I'm saying, well, God, this guy's going to hit us. I could see flecks of his wings breaking up, and then all of a sudden the ocean came into view, and it had crashed in the ocean. It was a new experience, trying to kill an opponent who only wanted to kill you and not survive. It was 3 a.m. Our destroyer squadron received orders that we were going to be the additional combat attack on the Japanese force. It involved a number of warships, battleships, cruisers, destroyers, probably one of the last great battles involving warships. As we closed in on our torpedo run, we were illuminated by star shells. They were literally over the ship, so we were lit up like daylight at that moment. The Japanese ships were firing on us, and the shells were landing with huge splashes on all sides of the ship and in front of us. The ship was shuddering. We had to keep going. And because I was in the director, I'm hearing other ones say, wow, that was close. It all happens so fast you don't think. You just want to do your job, get out. We went in fast, dropped our torpedoes. We hit the Japanese battleship Fuso, broke it in half and sunk it. And we were out of there. When I look back at that battle, I feel so lucky that we survived. I think it's important that we tell these stories. So I talk to my children and my grandchildren because I think they should know what went on. If we all keep it a secret, history will never know. So I believe in talking about it. I'm proud of my service to my country.
That was awesome, Johnny. My God.
That is a gem of a website that I found.
Yeah.
That we will play more of them. There's so many good ones.
That Phil Hollywood, my God, passed away as it says on screen in 2016, born in 1925. And, I keep thinking when he said that he was only 110 pounds, I kept thinking that's Captain America.
Yeah.
In one of the movies. But yeah, it was like, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know what to even think in that kind of a moment.
I don't know how.
Like, what do you do?
The
adrenaline kicks in, and you're like, I've got to,
I'm dumbfounded.
Yeah.
Like they just amaze me, and I think just sharing every bit of their life is so important.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what to say. It takes my kind of.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I got nothing.
It's just so great to see the sacrifice that they made for the country, and again the fact that they defeated really some evil people, that were trying to take over.
Yeah.
Essentially trying to take over the world, and they put a stop to it. And it's just that generation is just it's going to be a sad day when that article comes out with the last World War II survivor officially is dead. And it's like, oh man. But But the
Not yet.
stories,
Keep
my
going.
God, it's like I could just sit there. He could have talked for like 40 minutes. I would have been like,
Oh yeah, I totally would have. I would have watched a documentary on him for 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I would be like sitting back and going like, okay, this guy is just like.
Plot twist. You probably could see it in my eyes while we were watching it. I was like completely just enthralled with.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I don't even want to.
Just has your attention.
Yeah, his words speak for themselves. I don't want to. I don't want to speak for him. He spoke very well.
Absolutely. So, John, episode 41, brother. As always, it's been great to do this with you. We're almost a year doing this, man.
We're going towards my episode.
It's amazing. Just awesome stuff. So, shameless plug, shall we? Let's dive right into that.
Why not?
Close this puppy up. Where can people find us, brother?
We are on TikTok and doing very well. Clapper doing really well. Instagram Reels doing really well. Also on Instagram, Facebook, we're picking up some steam. We do short videos. TikTok gives us now 3-minute videos, so we're picking a lot more out that we can actually get out to people, and that will bring us to our main channel. Yeah,
it's on YouTube, of course. Two Noobs Talking podcast. We'd love for you to, of course, view us there, like and share our videos, subscribe to the channel as well. Our entire library, all 41 episodes, is listed on there. We would love it. Even going back to the old days when we really had no idea what we were doing.
Yes, sir.
It goes all the way back to then. So we'd love for you to check us out. And again, love to hear what you have to say as well in some of these videos as well. On the audio side, John, we love our audio listeners.
Oh, absolutely. Apple, Google Chrome, Google Podcast, a bunch of other ones. Wherever you get your podcast, we are there. iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
Also Spotify. They still suck, but we're there.
Exactly. And of course, our show notes are right here on screen, right there. But you can, of course, find them, TwoNoobsTalking.wordpress.com. Again, if you enter in your email address, the show notes show up in your inbox the very next day. We encourage you, of course, to take a look at that. We have all of our articles linked. I think that journal, John, is excellent to look at.
Absolutely.
For sure, that's a big-time highlight. So take a look at that. It's a really good read-through as well. So that's it, Johnny. Episode 41 is done. Got anything final to say, brother?
On to the next one.
On to the next one.
Love everybody.
Love everybody. Talk to y'all next week and take care.
This country was founded by geniuses, but it's being run by a bunch of idiots. Why do the members of the United States Senate continue to double down on stupid?